So it's nice to put faces with names. So I guess to start with, I want to introduce Anna. Anna is your CF contact. She comes to you from the Seattle office. She is your contact for Great Strides here in the Spokane area. My name's Amy. I'm in the Tri-Cities, and in the Tri-Cities we have 3 events. We have walk, we have cycle, and then we have a wine event in the fall. And so please come over and introduce yourselves to us, because I know some of you are familiar faces and you've been here before, and then there's others who haven't. And we just want to welcome you all. We're also glad you're here. For those that haven't been here, a quick breakdown of how the foundation functions. Foundation, like Anna and I, as staff employees of the foundation, we run these events like Cycle and Climb and the wine event. And then we pool those funds nationwide, and the CF Foundation does things with those funds, like support the care centers and support research, things that advance the quality of life for your patients with CF. And so I'm sure that Kendra heard in January the foundation decided that an additional $14 million would be given to the care center network to increase the quality of life for the CF patients and to help accelerate the research that's going on so that people can get signed up for the studies that are happening, and we can keep making advances as quickly as they are coming, which is breakneck speed. Yes. That's a lot of money. And it's really cool to see it at the care centers. The other thing the foundation does is that it dangles these funds in front of small pharmaceutical companies like AbbVie and Vertex and Actavis, and encourages them to develop the molecules that later become medications for those with CF. And so that's what Anna and I focus on, are those events where the funds can be pooled and then dispersed where they need to go. And so please come and stop and talk to us about Great Strides. Get signed up if you haven't. It's a celebration of the milestones that have been reached by your CFers throughout the year, and the one time a year that so many of you all come together to see each other. So it's kind of like a family reunion in a way. And then Cycle for Life. Come ride, come support, come have a good time. We take over the parking lot of this restaurant bar in the Tri-Cities, and these people pay over $200. One team raised $20,000 for the privilege of riding 65 miles in 100-degree heat. And so it's kind of a quirky bunch of people, but we have a really good time. And then in the fall, we get together and we drink wine, and we wander the Red Mountain area of Benton City, and there's 9 wineries involved, and they all support the CF Foundation, and it's just a really relaxed, fun, good time. The other thing I want you to come over and get from us, if you have not gotten this in a while, in a few years, if this does not look familiar to you, please come get one of these folders. And if you're new to the foundation, then definitely come get one of these. This talks about services that are available to you because you are a CF family. And one of the things that we really, really, really want every CFer to do is to have their gene testing done, because the medications that are coming, it's really important to know what your gene is so that your child can be put on the proper medication. That's a free service to anyone who has a CF diagnosis. So if your CFer was diagnosed at a time where they didn't have the gene testing, or for whatever reason you didn't do it, please come see us and get one of these packets. Also in here is patient assistance information, people that can help you work through insurance issues. There's a legal hotline on here. As our CFers get older, some of them are making the transition from student to workplace, and they have questions about legally what do they have to disclose or what do they not have to disclose to a potential employer, and what are their rights once they do get employed, if they should get sick, and those sorts of things. And these resources are there for you, so please, please use them. They can make life a lot easier and kind of help out a little bit, and you deserve them. So come see us and just soak up all this information today, and thank you so much to Kendra for putting this together every year for everyone. Appreciate it. So I'll
up and we'll talk about the advisory panel. I forgot to mention, so this was just kind of an idea, it may not turn out much, but your name tags with the color coding, the goal is try to get, we've had some feedback that, trying to figure out other people that are going through what you're going through. And so instead of making you stand up and introduce yourself, we decided to try that. So if you, obviously we want you to be with anyone, but if you see someone with the same color, know that they're probably going through what you are, and you can either commiserate or celebrate. I mean, it's kind of a mixture probably, and so feel free to talk to each other and use those name badges. So Sandy, thank you for coming.
Hi, it's nice to see some familiar faces out there. Like Kendra said, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sandy, and I have a wild 7-year-old who has cystic fibrosis. His dad's sitting right over there. Hi, Daniel. As all of you know, clinic visits are very busy. And if you're like me, you rarely have time to talk about everything you want to discuss. Life with cystic fibrosis can be overwhelming. And as amazing as our CF clinic is, and it truly is a fabulous clinic, you might like to have some input into how the clinic could improve. It's kind of crazy to think it could get better, right? It could, and you could help. I'd like to recruit y'all to join the Patient Family Advisory Board. We meet one night every 3 months here at the hospital, and we do a little bit of homework in between. It's an opportunity for those of us who have cystic fibrosis in our lives to sit down with members of the CF clinic in a casual setting and try to help make changes for the better. For example, we've been trying to find ways to help our loved ones with CF have access to exercise techniques and facilities that might encourage them to exercise more. We would also love to start a newsletter for the clinic to help share the valuable information they have. I look at being a part of the panel as a way to give back a little to our clinic for the many long days and nights that they spend caring for us. We have just a few members right now, and we could use a few more people in the group. We're trying to create a diverse group with many different perspectives. So please fill out an application for the Patient Family Advisory Panel. If you feel like you could spend a few hours a month working with us. The applications right now, I think, are on the table at the back of the room, and if they're not, you can come find me or Kendra, who spearheaded the group. We also have an email work group, so if traveling to Spokane and meeting in person sounds like more of an effort than you're able to put in right now, please consider adding your email to the work group list. As a member of the email work group, you can still help us by giving your input, often as simple as answering a survey or a questionnaire. So thank you very much. I'll look forward to working with you in the future and hope to see your names on the list.
Thank you. And if you do put your name on the work group email list, I promise you will not be inundated. It's going to be a few times a year. In fact, this event today, we sent out just a survey monkey. We want feedback. When is the best time to do it? Best day? What kind of things you want to hear? And so we'll continue to get more feedback from you in different areas. Plus, I think it opens up the door for you. If you have feedback to know, you really can email or contact us and share that, because we do want to improve. So now what we'll do is have Rebecca come up and talk about advocacy.
Hi everybody, I'm Rebecca. Thank you for the tech support. So it seems like feedback, because I don't know if there was a theme for the day, Kendra, but giving your feedback is really important. I'm going to talk today about advocacy. I'm the Idaho State Advocacy Chair. I'm not a staff member of the foundation like Amy and Anna, but I am a volunteer and I am a contact person for Great Strides here in Spokane as well. And then nationally I sit on a committee, an advisory committee called the Patient Engagement advisory committee that looks at ways to bridge communication gaps, like Sandy was talking about, between providers and patients, to just improve the ability to be able to take all those medications like we need to. So why should you be concerned about this? Why should you care about advocacy? It's simple, really, because every year, whether you know about it or not, our state and national representatives vote on legislation that could affect people with cystic fibrosis. Some of the things that they decide are things like our access to specialty care, maybe our access to clinical trials, access to specialty drugs, social security insurance, and other federal benefits. And then, of course, they make and vote on the budgets for organizations like the FDA and the NIH that also could have a direct impact on those with cystic fibrosis. So in my opinion, I believe that if we want to have a system that works for us and that gives us the things that we need, we have a responsibility to give some input here. We have to be an active part of that discussion, because no matter what your political stance is, healthcare is constantly evolving. And at the end of the day, we want a system that is going to work for us rather than just kind of sitting back and then when it doesn't work going, well, why did that happen? How are we going to fix this? It's a lot more effective to be proactive, to be communicating with each other and working together. A lot of our lawmakers don't even know what cystic fibrosis is. So how can we expect them, if we're not taking that stance, and educating them and being that voice, how can we expect them to know that, everything that we need to properly care for CF, which is also, a quickly evolving treatment regimen. And advocating can be intimidating, and you're thinking, like, what am I going to do? I mean, what do I've never talked to a senator before, I've never written my legislator before. But I promise you that when you advocate for cystic fibrosis, it is not a political thing at all. It's personal. It's personal for me, and it would be personal for you. And you go in and leave your politics at the door, and you just tell your story. The people in this room are the best experts that we have on cystic fibrosis. And being able to connect with those lawmakers, it seems like this far-off world, but when you're just sitting there looking in the eye and they, you're showing them pictures of your kids and they're showing you pictures of theirs, and they're just a person, and you can kind of bridge those gaps and reach them on a really personal level. And so there's no need to feel like if you don't know what's going on politically, or if you don't have any background in politics, that advocacy is not for you. Wrong. If you care about people with CF, then advocacy really, I think, should be a part of that picture. That's my son Brady, by the way, who's 7 and has cystic fibrosis. And you can see him right now. He's on the Act for NIH website, which we're promoting legislation to boost funding to the NIH. And there's a little story on the website about him. And really what sealed the deal for me in advocacy was when Brady started taking Kalydeco 3 years ago, which was a life-changing drug for him. And we feel so incredibly lucky and thankful to have that drug. And maintaining access then becomes of the utmost importance. The drug is over $30,000 a month. So if you don't think that money and politics and access issues are going to be coming up more and more in the future, you're wrong. This is something that even for the small number of patients that were able to start taking Kalydeco, in Arkansas, there was one man who had to actually sue the state for access to the drug and ended up waiting over 2 years in the meantime. So being proactive, like I said, is going to be our best line of defense against these barriers that might pop up as new drugs come out. So hopefully by this time you're asking, what can I do? How can I get involved? This sounds great, but I don't know what to do. Really, the number one easiest thing that you can do is to go sign up as an advocate on cff.org. And I'm going to... So here is cff.org's just homepage. And on the side here, you can become an advocate. And then you can see as you scroll down here on the advocacy site, there's a Take Action Now and an advocacy toolkit. So on this page, you can sign up to receive the advocacy newsletter and alerts. And I'm also going to have a sign-up sheet over here next to Anna and Amy if you want to sign up as an advocate. I'm not going to ask for like a blood sample or your social security number or anything crazy like that. It just is your name, your email address, and your zip code. And with that information, you can sign up as an advocate, and then when new legislation arises that we need people in the community to take action on, you will receive an email. And in that email will be a pre-written letter that you are free to personalize if you want or not, if you don't have the time. A couple of sentences can really kind of deepen your impact. And then you put in your zip code, and it automatically sends it to the people that represent you. It's super, super easy. It can really take as little as a minute to send 3 representatives an email about a piece of legislation that's coming up for a vote. So I think that as a first dipping your toes into the pool of advocacy, that just signing up with the foundation is a great place to start, because they have people constantly working on public policy and aware of new legislation that's coming up in the different states. So if this will work, I'm going to show you just a quick little video about advocacy. I don't know about the volume, Kendra. Are we going to have volume, do you think? Oh, yeah.
I remember what it was like the first time I headed over to my congressman's office, and I was so nervous. And I know that that's how people feel. But I remember thinking very clearly about everything my kids go through to fight with cystic fibrosis. This is the easy stuff. It's easy to sit in front of someone and tell them what you need. Oh, thank you so much. I have 2 children with cystic fibrosis, Rachel and Megan. My daughters have taught me everything I know about being courageous and about having a ridiculous enthusiasm about life, and that just comes all from them. And I look at them and I think about what they go through on a daily basis and how brave they are, and I think, how can I not make that phone call? How can I not take 30 seconds to send a letter? How easy is it for me to sit down in front of a congressman and tell them their story? And I look at my daughters, and it's a piece of cake.
That's a confidence.
Yeah, she was for the dance last year. She's getting ready to go to college, and she's looking all over the place, and we're doing a lot of college trips. She's doing good. When my kids were young and they were diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, I made a promise that I would do anything in my power to protect them. And when I learned about how easy it is to reach out to our elected officials and how much power they have to really make a difference for us, how could I not do it? I spent a good deal of my life raising money for cystic fibrosis and making sure that I'm also protecting access to care, to advance research, and to help raise awareness for cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis advocacy is something that you can pick and choose how much time you spend in it. A few letters, a couple phone calls, or you can move on and actually have some face-to-face appointments. You can make a difference in the lives of those with cystic fibrosis. Go to cff.org, click on Get Involved. and then click on Become an Advocate, and you're in. It only takes a few minutes. Take action today.
Okay, so take action. That's the motto, and it really is easy. Like I said, it's easy. It's just a few emails if you want, or you can, of course, take it to that next level. Volunteering as a district advocate is kind of the next level where you might meet with local folks in your state. And as the advocacy chair for the state of Idaho, my husband and I next week will be headed to Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. to talk to our federal representatives about cystic fibrosis and what we need. These are the things that we're going to be talking about next week. These are some of the current policy issues for folks with CF. Like I mentioned before, the FDA and NIH funding. The FDA, we're asking the FDA to do things that they haven't really done before. We're asking them to look at new drugs that treat just a few patients for a specific genetic mutation about a rare disease, and we need them to be functioning smoothly and expertly and efficiently and quickly, because in the next 10 years, we're going to be having, lots of new applications to the FDA. So having that agency working is important. When Kalydeco VX770 applied to the FDA, there was a really short turnaround time, and I can tell you, everyone in this room knows that waiting is not good. I mean, the quicker that can happen, the better. So, and then NIH funding, that's like basic science funding. They're proposing an increase this year of over $1 billion for the NIH. It really isn't that much money, but it's a start. And with some of that money, they'll be doing not really CF-specific research, but genetic research, which is going to enhance our understanding of cystic fibrosis. Like Angie, the woman in the video, said, advocating isn't just like we need all these new great things. It's like when they decide the budget every year, if you're not the squeaky wheel, it's really easy to just make those cuts there. And so protecting what we already have is super important. Protecting our Medicaid, our Medicare. Some states have their own copay assistance programs. And then one piece of legislation that we're working on right now is the Ensuring Access to Clinical Trials Act, which allows patients with CF to participate in clinical trials. And for those of you who have, you know that sometimes or often actually when you participate in a clinical trial, you receive a small amount of compensation. And so this act makes it so that compensation doesn't count toward their income and can't make them ineligible for like their Social Security insurance benefits. So we don't want to discourage anyone from participating in a clinical trial, especially when right now at CF we almost have more science than we have patients to run our trials. So we desperately need everyone that can to participate. And this legislation, we passed this act actually in 2010, but there was a 5-year time limit on it. So this legislation would make that permanent. So we're really pushing for co-sponsors for that legislation. And then in the past few years, something that advocates have had success on is the Newborn Screening Act, which makes screening for cystic fibrosis a part of the screening protocol in all 50 states, which is super important. As someone who, Brady was the first baby that was picked up on Idaho's newborn screening program in 2007, and I'm so thankful for it. I mean, that was extremely important for us and for us to be able to intervene right then. So things, you can see things that are really relevant to all of us. So I guess I just want to end it by saying Legos are my world. Brady's 7, right? This is what my whole world looks like. We need to advocate, because if we want to be fed we need to come to the table, and we need to give our input, and we need to share our expertise with them, because that's what we are. We're the experts. So just telling your story can be really powerful and make a huge difference. So thank you for your attention. Like I said, you can sign up on the website like I showed you, or you can come and just write it in, and I will sign up for you. And stay afterward if you want. The Great Strides Committee is going to just huddle up for a few minutes after our Ed Day today. So thanks, everybody.